Everyone, I'll just wait a few more seconds for a few people to join us. I'm hoping at least a few more people from delivery will join to answer any questions you may have. So just wait out a second. Okay, I'll go ahead and get started since we're at time. So welcome everyone. This is the July the 12th AMA with the delivery group. So we are looking after GitLab releases and deployments. So Stan, thank you for taking the first question. Do you want to verbalize?
Sure. There was an issue that that Chun relayed to me about changes for the FedRAMP process, and I didn't have a chance to read the whole thing, but I was trying to get an idea of maybe you could summarize, what you were proposing and the goals here.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to. Yeah, so this has been a sort of work in progress this quarter, and we're hoping to take the sort of first iteration of it next quarter. So very timely. So what we currently have, the current release cycle is we have a monthly release that's on the 22nd of the month. That is all new, like changes, features, bugs, and things like that. And then we have a scheduled monthly security release, which is usually around the 28th of the month. And any security vulnerabilities are fixed in that month. Now, we have a couple of challenges for that. The biggest one really is a month is quite a long time. Like if we're unfortunate and a vulnerability gets reported like on the 29th of the month, it's very painful to have to make it wait through to the next month. So it definitely doesn't meet FedRAMP needs or customer needs that we have such a long gap. The other challenge that we have because of these long gaps is we can't always wait. So we spend quite a lot of our time in our months doing patch releases, or in some cases having to put out critical security releases to address individual fixes. So what we want to get to, and it's a little bit of a longer term view, we want to get to the stage where we can do 3 security releases per month and have the monthly release. And we would roughly be looking at 1 release a week. In order to facilitate that, we will combine all patch releases and security releases. So at the moment, those are separate. They're completely distinct release processes. And we either put out bug fixes or we put out a security release, which may have some bug fixes. What we're going to do is combine our processes together, and every patch release would just be whatever security fixes and whatever bug fixes are ready to go would be released on a weekly basis. So that's the kind of goal. We're hoping to be able to start work on this in Q3, and it would be iterative. So we'll probably try and get to 2 security releases. We have a few really big pieces we need to solve. We're working with AppSec on this. One of them is around mirroring. So right now we mirror from the security repo to the dev repo, and we use that for our nightly builds. So that means when we're in a security release prep, we turn that mirroring off, so we don't get those nightly builds. So we need to overcome that because that's a bit unfortunate for a whole month. The second really big piece is there's a lot of work that the release managers and also sort of maintainers and AppSec go through. But in the prep for a security release right now, we basically have everything that is intended to go into that release is assigned. And then we work through and try and figure out, like, is it ready? Could it be ready? Or if it's not ready, how do we move it on? So we'd want to flip that over. So we actually only have to deal with the things that are actually really ready. By ready, it's like all the backports are there. We have all the reviews. We have all the documentation we need. And then the third piece is around the blog post. So it's quite a lot of work, particularly for AppSec, to produce the security release blog post. And we have a much more automated process for patch releases. So we'd want to try and find some way of bringing those together so that we don't kind of overwhelm people with work. So we've got a few pieces, but we're hoping to be able to get started on those next quarter. Curious to hear, though, either here or on the issue, if anyone has any kind of thoughts or kind of ideas for how we could improve this further.
Great, thanks. So I think I understand correctly. So if we get to this, we'll be doing weekly releases then, regular, like predictable releases. Okay.
That's right. Yes.
From a customer standpoint, I'm always worried because it's hard enough for them to keep up with our monthly releases, and then when we're talking about weekly releases, it'd be great for us, but I don't know if our customers would be able to keep up with that rate of upgrades that we would be pushing out then. So
I think there's some comment, I'll try and find it, that I left on theirs with a bit of the numbers. But over, I think, the past 6 minor releases, we've on average pushed out kind of at least 8 or 9 patch releases. And this would actually bring that number down to 4 more regularly and kind of top out as we do the maintenance policy, closer to 8. I think we're just on 15.11.12 and may increment that further. So I think it can be it looks like more, but it should be less over the distance, is what we're anticipating.
Great, that's good news then.
Yeah, definitely. And hopefully they'll all be a bit smaller as well, because it's not like more security vulnerabilities. It's just, instead of a 1 a month security release, which maybe has 25 vulnerabilities, hopefully we'd be able to spread that a bit. So for the people who do need to do more manual verification, hopefully that gets a bit easier as well. Great, thanks for asking, Stan. Does anybody else have a question they'd like to verbalize? No, you're opening this up for my questions, and fantastic. So, system team, what are you currently most excited by in system?
So what we are most excited about is probably to start to see the practical application what we are working this quarter. So the ability to shift traffic between different deployments and get to the practical part where we can see how this is impacting the deployments, or how this is impacting mainly also the rollbacks, because we are expecting to have faster rollbacks to do that and implementing different strategies for that, right? This is still pretty far out, but at least we are understanding if the solution we are implementing right now is viable, and understand which are the moving parts we need to start to look at that are currently like implementing auto deploy, how we can integrate with that, and so on. This will become like in the next quarters or so, but we're very excited to see the outcome of this, and we're very excited to see how much this can move the needle, and especially in risky rollouts. For instance, like the Ruby 3 rollouts that we had, having this capability already back at that time would help us like to de-risk everything in with a much bigger impact, and not like stop the entire company for deploying something for 48 hours and mobilizing like so many people from so many teams, right? So we could even do this like with an iterative approach and expose like different images based on new Ruby version with smaller percentage of traffic and so on. So we can even build confidence as a step-by-step basis. So we are very excited to see what we're working and being able to ship software differently than we're doing right now.
Awesome. And am I right in thinking that this quarter, this is a POC on the pre-environment, and we'll have some, like, would it be a demo or something shareable that people can follow along, see what that looks like?
There will be a demo as a outcome of this OKR, or this quarter that we work on, and then there will be a lot of discussion issues actually to understand how to move this to later environment like staging and production, right? So there will be a moment where, okay, with this functionality is what we need, and is what gonna provide value to the development teams and to our customer at the end. But how do we implement this? How do we integrate these in the current processes is the question mark that we need to answer in the next quarters.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing.
Thank you.
I'm going to say orchestration, but Myra, I really mean you, because you're actually the only person here from orchestration. Orchestration, what are you most excited about?
I'm very excited about decreasing the active time we do on security releases because it is one of our hardest process. I'm also excited about doing this combination of patch and security releases. What else? I'm also quite excited about reducing the cognitive load for release managers because this is something that we have been working in the past month. And I think that is going to have a great impact because then release managers are going to be able to focus on doing these more frequent patch and security releases that are combined, even more deployments. So I'm quite excited about that.
Awesome, thanks for sharing. And yeah, I just linked in the security release epic because yeah, I agree. This one's a really interesting one. So our motivation is how can we reduce the workload around security releases, which is actually a kind of pre-step for us having more security releases. But this one's really exciting because we have been moving manual tasks, which are, we have a lot of very small manual tasks that we tend to do either with like a chat ops command or go and look at a thing. We've been moving all of those onto a CI/CD pipeline. So we've just done the easier ones, the first steps, and we're doing the last steps right now, which is sort of administrative. But I think this will be a really exciting way for us to be able to automate, hopefully, all of our release processes and put them on pipelines with jobs and things. So really, really exciting direction. Cool. Myra, you have the next question.
Yep. So for context, we in delivery, we use this metric that is called MTTP, that is the mean time to production, and it is measuring the time it takes for a merge request from the moment it is merged to be deployed to GitLab.com. We have a standard of 12 hours, and I was checking this page, and I'm actually going to share my screen so it is easier to explain. So I'm not sure if this is because how it is recollected, how are the metrics recollected, but for example, we can see that we have this trend of 12, 23 or something, but here in July, we have 46. Is that because of the recent incidents and because of the PCL? Or
Correct.
is there some?
Yes, that's
okay.
right. So we're only on the 12th of the month. So the numbers get skewed a little bit heavily if we have something that is very significant. But last week was the first working week of the month. So the first was on a Saturday. And we had a family and friends day, and we had a 2-day deployment block to cover the change request. And then this Monday, we had a PCL. So that reflects very poorly at this stage in the month. I expect that with several normal weeks of deployments, we'll see it coming. It will still be high, I think, MTTP for this month, because we've had that's 4 days effectively without real deployments, but it should come back down.
Awesome. Thanks for adding some color.
But also one other thing that is visible on that MTTP metric is the past 3 months have been higher than we were previously. And that is because we have currently we have no APAC release management cover. So previously being able to deploy all around the clock helped us with that. But because of reallocating and helping out in other projects, we haven't had that available to us. So that's another reason why MTTP is a bit higher at the moment. Nice. Thanks for asking that, Myra. Does anybody else have a question I'd like to verbalize?
I have one final question. Is there anything that, in light of all these incidents, production change logs, and all that, that you're thinking about doing to ensure, better stability on GitLab.com?
Yes, there are definite discussions taking place around that. Like, of course, we in an ideal world, we would have 100% stability and also deployments rolling through as rapidly as they can. So yes, there are definitely discussions ongoing right now about ways we can improve things, ways we can like improve testing, and ways we can sort of make deployments a bit safer, but also how can we reduce the impact on deployments from other things so that we can do that. So yeah, I can share some docs that are discussing on those, but yes, absolutely, there are discussions going on. Awesome. Any final questions? In which case, thanks everybody for joining. Thank you for all the questions and for the answers. And I hope you all have a great rest of your day. Take care. Bye.